Thanks for checking in on the State of Basketball Podcast, episode 60. I'm Adam Miller, and I'm here with Jaren Will each and every week, and we are going to be bringing you the news and notes on all 11 Division I schools in the state of Indiana, because in 49 states,
it's just basketball.
We are already at 2 in-state matchups. We've already had 2 in-state Division I matchups. We've had multiple in-state matchups. And we saw Franklin play Ball State, and we saw IU Columbus play IU Indy,
and Goshen,
and IU played Marion in an exhibition. So we've seen plenty, but we had our first 2 head-to-heads between teams
that we talk about.
Yeah, of the 11 that we cover. So I'm excited to talk about those.
I'm simultaneously unexcited to talk about them.
They're always fun to talk about from one side and not so fun from the other. I think the only thing that would make it really exciting would be if it was like, a buzzer beater and the whole game was wire to wire, and it's like that could have been anybody's or something. But
yeah, faux show.
We're back, and
like we never left.
Yeah,
that's how that goes, right?
What else did we have? The Champions Classic was this past week.
Yes.
What else happened? Purdue was dominant this week.
Well, that's spoilers, bro. We gotta talk about that later.
But we're
they
here.
Have their own section.
We're back. We'll get there. But just giving them a little primer, man. But no, I'm happy to be back, and we've got some more things on the horizon. Jaren, did you remember to pick your game this week?
Yes, I remembered to pick my game. I have not forgotten. I have provided a game. The clues maybe weren't the best or, invalid, but I still had a game written down. Still had the game written down. I'm just an idiot and gave an invalid clue.
You want to go into the power rankings?
Yes.
I don't know. Do you have anything else? Nothing else?
No. I'm ready to talk through these power rankings. I think this is the most our power rankings have changed.
Like from week to week?
From week to week, ever.
Probably.
Ever. In the 2 years, well, I guess year. Last year and this year combined so far. I think that there was quite a lot of shuffling that occurred. We'll talk through that, here in a second. But first, I want to talk to you about our power rankings sponsor, Crow's Nest Coffee Roasters. Great coffee. Love it. Got a bag.
Some right here.
This is their Chips in the Night medium dark roast with tasty notes of chocolate and hazelnut. Are you gonna die if you drink this?
I'm gonna find out tomorrow.
Adam's deathly allergic to nuts, and hazelnuts being one of them. So
that's how much I'm willing to try this product.
Crow's Nest has more than just the Chips in the Night. This is just what Adam got.
That's how willing I am to try the specific blend. Is I would put my life on the line for this.
It happens to have hazelnut tasting notes, so probably okay. But who's to say?
If Jaren's recording solo next week, Godspeed.
But
come to my funeral.
Great, love the packaging. Got a little sniff hole at the back, so when you get it, as all coffee does usually, but get the nice little taste of the a precursor of the taste with the sniff, with the smells.
Go get yourself some coffee.
Yes, and as you can see here, if you are watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, you can get 15% off every order. Not your first order, not your third order, every order.
Order plenty and often.
Yes, using promo code TSOB. 4 letters. 4 beautiful, beautiful letters get you 15% off. So, shout out to Crow's Nest Coffee Roasters. For this week's power rankings, we're going to start at number 11. That is Valparaiso. Last week they were 10. They did take a slight drop, but that's mostly because the team that was 11 made a jump. We'll talk about that here in a second.
You'll see where they are.
Yeah.
I guess they don't even know who. They might not know who was 11.
You might not know.
Week.
That's why I'm teasing it. Evansville is number 10, who was 9 last week. There's a trend here. Ball State is 9th. They were 7th previously. IU Indy is 8th. They were 6th previously. So then Indiana is 7. They jumped up. Not as big of as a jump as our next team, but they did jump up. They got a huge Division 1 win over Bellarmine.
Should have 3.
They should have 3 Division 1 wins
with a high major in there.
Number 6 is Indiana State. They moved up 6 spots. 5 spots. Math, not my thing.
One-time math major, Jaren Wilt.
It lasted a couple weeks. They were Indiana State being 6th. They were previously 11th. A lot of transitive things that occurred, but they had an in-state win over a team that is now below them. So it was only fair. And
it was a true road win. That's important.
A true road win. Yep. So several factors, which we will talk about later in our show. Number 5 is Purdue Fort Wayne. They did drop back a spot. Number 4 is Butler, who moved up a spot. So Purdue Fort Wayne, Butler just did a little swapperoo. Then number 3 is Notre Dame. They stayed right there. Number 3 is their home.
It's the only team that stayed the same so far, right?
Yes. Yep.
So
it is factual.
That already definitely the most movement we've had, because Purdue never moved. So we always had one team staying the same at least.
Yeah. Number 2 is Indiana. They had a big win, but their win was not as big as the Purdue Boilermakers win over Alabama. So they moved up to 1.
Second biggest win possible, man.
That is, in fact, yeah.
Only could have been better if they. Well, I guess it could have been bigger if they beat Alabama at home, and then the only thing bigger than that would be to beat Alabama at Alabama, and then the only thing bigger than that would be to beat Kansas in Fog Allen.
Well, I'd say it'd be Kansas at Fog Allen, Kansas at Mackey, Alabama at Alabama.
I don't know. I feel like Alabama, just being the ranked 2 team,
that's true. Okay.
I feel like just a true road game just bumps it up so much.
That's true.
Like, I would even say, I don't even know who's 3, but like a true road game beating number 3 at their place, probably still more impressive, because we'll talk about it, but Mackey was helpful.
So Purdue is our number 1 team, even though Indiana won. Purdue beat a better team than Indiana, so
crazy how that works.
It makes sense. So that is our power rankings, again sponsored by Crow's Nest Coffee Roasters. 15% off every order using promo code TSOB. Go check out their website, which will actually be in the link be in our description. Also on our link tree on all of our social media accounts. All right.
You want to talk about the cards? Or do you have anything else?
The cards. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. You said cards. I was thinking like a deck of cards. I was like, we don't what?
Yeah, we have our playing card sponsor.
Yeah. No, we don't have a playing card sponsor. The Ball State Cardinals. They had 2 losses this week. They did drop ever so slightly in Torvik. They, as of our intern filling out this document for us, our unpaid intern.
Yeah, thank you. Clear. Do not give them any ideas.
They were ranked 256 in Torvik, which is down 6 spots from last week. They lost on the road at Dayton, 77-69. And then they lost a home game against Indiana State, 94-84. You're keeping track at home based on our power rankings. That is a large factor of why Indiana State bumped up as far as they did. We are very high on the Cardinals, or we had been. We still are, but
we had very high hopes for what the Cardinals could be.
So they were at around the 6-7 spot in our power rankings, but Indiana State, having beaten them, who Indiana State hadn't shown us much yet. that was a big factor of why they jumped from 12 to 6.
11.
11.
You were so down on the Sycamores. You dropped them out. You're like,
no,
what?
I
Get Grace in here.
for some reason, today my brain is thinking that there's 12 teams because I said it earlier. I said it earlier.
You only get to it's only gonna slide once, Jaren.
Okay, I'll be careful next time. Yeah. So I mean, want to kind of talk us through the games?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Okay. So I guess adding color, right? The Dayton game, Jamari Hill had 25 points, 7 boards. Almost single-handedly brought the team back into the game after they were down 20. So did what he could. After the game, was it was 0 to 10. It was okay, great, cool. Like they,
I was ready to call it.
Yeah.
That's when I was ready to call it. I was like, all right, I've seen enough. And I will be honest, I checked out for a minute, and then the second half happened.
Yeah, second half, much better than the first half. I was looking at it, and I was thinking, okay, the Cardinals could just string together 2 good halves of a game. They'd be looking at a much different.
They're not the only team
scenario
on this list.
Oh yeah. They're
Who
by
wants
far
that?
easily a lot of teams are like that. That's why I didn't write that down because I think it just applies to a lot of the teams that we talk about at this stage in the season. They're just not,
I just feel like, I mean, this goes for even the second game against Indiana State I just feel like the team is just trying to figure out so much of their identity.
Yep.
And trying to figure out just like what everyone's role is. We've talked offline ad nauseum about, Jerry and just like being in a completely different role. Peyton, he's even though he played 2 years at Ball State, he's in a different role too.
Yep.
And the guards are different, and it's just like I feel like there's just a lot of learning. And I thought that kind of thought, for no specific reason other than, trust, I guess, that they would be farther along than they are.
Yeah.
And I guess the number of veterans, but still, like, playing together is hard.
Yeah, I think you there's a few different things that we to look at, right? Peyton did not play at all last year, hardly.
Basically, yeah.
So
basically
didn't
a year
play
off.
for a season. He just had to play against Khalil Ware in practice. Jerry was the guy at Southern Indiana.
Yep.
He was the guy. Mickey Pearson last year was pretty much the guy. Joey Hart, again, didn't play hardly at all. And those are just 4 players, right? They've got several other players on their team that are in similar situations where they might have been the guy at their previous school or didn't get a whole lot of run and are good, but it's just, okay, now how do you take all of these different factors and put them all together? You've got 4 guys that were the guy, and now there's 4 of them, so it's like, how do they mesh? I think that's one of the the cons that you see with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
They brought in a lot of transfers to be high impact players, so still figuring things out. I think they have incredible potential. They have so far been a bit of a letdown for me.
Jamari Hill, I mean, that's
he's been
impressive. The brightest spot.
He's been the bright spot, yeah, for sure. I mean, one thing I noticed is they get to the line a lot. They're ranked 13 in the nation in free throw
attempts or
free throw rate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a 53 free throw rate, which means it's pretty much the factor of how many times they get to the free throw line compared to their 2-point field goals, or compared to their attempts. Yeah, and they make 72% of their free throws. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But especially when you think you got a guy like Peyton, who was a 40% free throw shooter previously.
Yeah.
But they're sending teams to the line a lot. From a defensive standpoint, they're 312th in defensive free throw rate.
Okay.
So not great.
Right.
Very polarizing when you look at that.
Yeah, that's probably a lot of it's them trying to just figure out the defense.
Yeah, and teams are making 77% of their free throws. So not shooting the three ball particularly well either. They're just under 30%.
Yeah, and they did lose, a lot of shooters last year.
Yeah. And they're also averaging 12 turnovers a game, which not going to help you.
Going to kill Mike Lewis on the inside.
And they're forcing 11 turnovers. So
yeah, and I mean, the dropping one at home to Indiana State obviously hurts. I mean, Indiana State was down a couple of players, and they still dropped it at home. I mean, it was like close, but then Indiana State goes on an 8-0 run. I mean, you can't let that happen in Worthen. You just can't.
Yeah.
It was a 2 p.m. game on a Saturday. Football's bye week, right? Yeah, it was bye week because actually, they let their coach go.
Their coach, Mike New at Ball State.
So everyone should have been there.
Yeah.
But we are hopeful that things are going to turn around. The MAC's going to be tough, but I think that there's definitely potential for them to figure it out sooner rather than later. Team that has seemingly turned it around a little bit though is Butler.
Yeah.
We are like lows last week. Not like
depressing.
We weren't doomers by any means, but
I was depressed because I watched them give the game away to Austin P in person. So that just kind of hung on over my shoulders. But they did move up in Torvik. They are 86th, previously 89. They got 2 wins this week. I'd say pretty big wins, both in score but also momentum.
Yeah,
they beat Western Michigan 85-65.
Yeah, they needed to absolutely like blow them out, and they pulled that off.
Yeah. And then they beat SMU 81-70, so then double-digit win. Both were at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Correct.
I'm just glad they had a better week than last week. Really, the Big East as a whole, I think, had a big wake-up call last week, because last week people were saying the Big Least.
Yeah.
And this week, the Big East, across the board, pretty much,
did a lot better. And the team that you remember that we'll point out losing lost to an Indiana team. Yep. That's what we like to see.
Great. I am still not sure how this team lost to Austin P, but I'm choosing to believe that Austin P awoke a sleeping giant.
We'll just chalk it up to new team dynamics. They also lost quite a few important players, but still figuring out that 5 position. I feel like Cassia started the 5 the last 2 games.
I love his name, Augusto.
Yeah. He started at the 5 the last 2 games and was really good. What did he do? 16 points against Western Michigan, and then actually the very next game after, my expectations were very, very low. Andre Screen comes in, I think has 10 points for the Dogs against SMU. So that was really, really cool. But just like I can't express how much they needed the SMU win. Like, you drop one to Austin P that you should never drop. You have to win against SMU. Like, you have to win that game.
Yeah.
SMU, I'm not sure where they're projected in the ACC. Yeah, the ACC, SMU, high major ACC team, SMU, that everyone knows. But I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's a high major team. It doesn't matter if they're going to be the worst team in the league or not. That helps. And then going on like a 16-2 run really shows that when they lock in, they can lock in and they can make it happen. So I don't expect any more Austin P results to come from this team. And I don't think it's out of the question that we can, even with that Austin P loss, you can still be talking about the Dogs in the tournament as an at-large.
Yeah.
I think that the Big East, if they could sneak into like the top 4 of the Big East, it can definitely happen.
Yeah. And I think that even if they're not in the top 4, I mean, they're going to pick up a lot of quality. I believe they're going to pick up a lot of quality wins in the Big East in general.
12-8 probably gets you in, right?
Yeah. I would think.
No, I mean, I don't think that many Big East teams like got in last year, and it was surprising. But things can shake out differently.
Well, you
don't have the Pac-12, so
yeah, that's an entire conference. I mean, the teams are in other places, but like That's
Right.
an automatic bid.
Yeah.
Gone. I mean, I'd even say that there's a lot of other smaller conferences where teams came over, like SMU to the ACC.
Right.
That's one less team in that smaller conference that
Mm-hmm.
might be preventing that conference from getting an at-large.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so in general, you might see less at-larges because teams that maybe would have gotten in for winning their conference tournament, like SMU, if they would have won theirs, like they're going to be playing tougher competition.
Yeah.
So it's
for
just
sure.
I think it's gonna be really interesting and fun to see what the field looks like this year specifically because of how many of those teams kind of shifted. So.
Yeah, and if you talk about, I mean, obviously we'll talk about it later, but I mean, you win against Houston, then like it's all basically irrelevant anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But
But
really
good
cool.
bounce back week.
Yeah.
sure.
Good to see. I mean, as a team, they're shooting 41.3% from three on the season,
Good.
which is great. I got a little free throw. Can you guess where this ranks nationally?
41%.
Yep.
I'm gonna say 52.
25th.
I was almost. I mean, you flipped that. You
Yeah,
flipped those.
yeah.
You flipped those. I kind of cooked.
But again, I mean, you've talked about it rebounding. It's still kind of a question mark. With
No kidding.
going to a Gusto from Andre. Is I mean, there's a bit of a couple inch size difference, but their just interior is interesting. They also turn the ball over a lot. They're not forcing a lot of turnovers,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that and the turnovers that they're getting, they're not converting on as well as their opponents are. So the 3-point shooting definitely helps cover some of that disparity. But those are just kind of some things that I want to keep looking for. Right, is bounce back week. Things are looking great. Still a few things that like I think can be worked on, but a team that has a lot of things to work on.
Oh my god, dude.
Evansville, unfortunately, they are Torvik ranked 254. That is down from 237 last week.
It still doesn't feel like enough.
Yeah.
Like
it was a rough rate.
Not that I want to be negative on Evansville, but like
I mean, I'm sitting here. I'm wearing an Evansville shirt.
Yeah,
like
the timing.
Yeah, not. But I'm keeping on brand. 2 losses this week.
Yes, and
one.
Both of them.
Both really are not good.
Both of them are tales of two halves. I mean, you look at the first half; they were down 3, and they played Middle Tennessee. We should. Sorry, let me back up.
I was getting there, and then
we should back up.
You took over. Yeah.
I just wanted to jump into the numbers because it's like crazy. So they lost at Middle Tennessee State. You know, whatever road game, you never know. But they lost 80-63, and then they followed that up with a loss at home to Radford, 92-81. So the Middle Tennessee State game, the first half they're down by 3, and you know that's like pretty good, shooting 41%. And then the second half, they get outscored 39-25, shoot 26.7%. I mean, they could have, you know. I don't know if this is a momentum shifter, but fouling when there's less than half a second left at halftime, just all-time bad move.
Yeah.
And then Radford, I mean, same thing. Second half collapse. It was first half. They were up 50-32, and I was sending a text like, oh my gosh, like they're back. Like Evansville's back.
Yeah.
And then the second half happens, and they lose the second half 31-60. Dude, Radford shot 80% and 72% from 3.
Yeah.
In the second half. It's unseen. Never seen anything like that before in my life.
I mean, it's not unseen because we saw it.
I wish I had not.
Yeah. I did some number crunching.
Oh God.
It's
scaring me already.
It's nothing drastic.
Okay.
And trust me, I used a calculator. So
one-time math major. That's one-time math major Jaren.
So they're not like insane numbers, but I was just like, okay, they've shot the ball 162 times. not including free throws. So that's both 2-point field goals, 3-point field goals.
Okay. This is attempts?
Attempts, yes.
Okay.
Number of times they have attempted for the ball from 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
They've made it 70 times.
Okay.
42%. So across the board, shooting 42%.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. It could be better, but
Not bad.
It's still pretty good.
Their opponents, 171 shots. So
Okay.
171 attempts, 90 makes. That's 52%.
No.
So they're already shooting 10% worse against their opponents. I will admit this does not include who is it, Brescia
Mm-hmm.
as a non-D1. These are only their D1 opponents. I thought that was that. I wanted to the Brescia game in there while they did win. It still,
right,
to me,
it's gonna skew it
because they are a D1 team playing a D1.
Listen,
I
took not AP stats because of anyway. Not gonna get into that, but it was just statistics in high school that we sat for the AP test for. And so, you gotta get rid of the outlier there.
Yeah.
So
due to that 10% field goal percent difference, they're getting outscored by 45 across the 3 of the 4 games that they've played.
Okay.
45, big number. That number can just greatly be decreased. They just rebound the ball better.
Not getting second chances.
Yeah, they're not getting second chances. They're giving up second chances. They are 254th of 364 teams, 363 teams.
I think that's what it is now.
I don't know. More teams were added.
It changes
to
every year.
Yeah,
it's not fair.
Well, it's a good thing that it changes. I think.
Maybe. Listen, Division 1 could be a lot smaller.
Yeah, but so they're 354th in, my wording is defensive offensive rebound rate. So offensive rebounds,
their opponent's offensive rebound rate.
Opponent's offensive rebound rate. It's the offensive rebound percentage when they are on defense. They give up offensive rebounds on nearly 50% of their opponent's shots.
That's not great. I mean, I'm not Bart Torvik, but that's not great.
Yeah, half the shots that go up that are misses
are
you give them a chance to do it again. Again, not a numbers guy.
One-time math major. One-time math major.
Stop reminding me this. That's not good. You want to be able to rebound the ball better and limit those second chance points. And I think that to me, I think that there's a correlation between especially because their opponents are scoring the ball on half the shots that they get.
Uh-huh.
So you're giving them another chance to the numbers stack. And
here, you know what? I'm gonna put this in layman terms. It's not good. Okay. Rebound the ball and defend a little bit better. All right. Yeah. Let's move on. We've killed this. Still love
the Aces though.
Yeah. This is another team that just needs to put 2 halves together. I mean, good halves. Like, I don't want to see the second half of both of those games together and lose by a trillion. I think that Evansville has potential. I think that, they've got good guys. Like I'm talking about, like, they got good guys. They aren't great. Cam Hafner has been really good this year. Pizzato obviously has been really good. Joshua Hughes, if his 3-point percentage will even out, I think that that'll come together. Let's talk about Indiana because they moved up. So down in our rankings, but up in Torvik's rankings. Thank you, Bart. So they went from 33rd to 29th, and they only had one game this week. They won at home over South Carolina 87-71. I'm still not sure. I'm actually pretty positive that South Carolina is not going to be a tournament team, but that's neither here nor there. Indiana, this is literally other than Atlantis, this is the hardest game on their schedule, on their non-conference schedule.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They won handedly. So
yeah, and they looked pretty good. So they went 8 of 17 from 3. Like that's almost 50%. That's what we want. I would like to see those attempts go up.
Yeah.
I think that,
If the rate goes down, but the attempts go up,
yeah.
if
Within
the rate
reason.
goes, marginally down.
Yeah.
I don't want them to shooting like 30%, but
Yeah.
shooting 33s a game.
Right.
But yeah.
Unless their offensive rebounding percentage is insane.
Again, correlation. Are we a stats?
Subscribe to State of Basketball Analytics. It's just the eye test. But Miles Rice was great, and one thing that you saw with this team like so far is I think you're actually starting to see the thing that Mike Woodson has been talking about since he got the job, which is that 4 out, 1 in offense where you can switch 1 through 4, switch 1 through 5, switch 1 through 3 for sure.
Yeah.
And he has guards who can make plays at more than one position. Like he's got Galloway, Carlisle, Rice, ups if need be, but Mackenzie and Baco can make plays. All the bigs can make plays, are great passers.
Yeah.
So I think you're seeing like this offense that he's been talking about for 3 years finally coming because he has the pieces that he wants.
Yeah, I mean, fun little stat that I wish I saw earlier. People talk about it, right? That Indiana has an incredibly talented team, probably the most talented in the Big Ten, are what people are saying. According to Bart Torvik, they are statistically ranked as the 3rd most talented team roster in the country. And is not far behind UConn. Makes sense. And Illinois. They're like,
is Illinois 1?
They're like, no, Illinois is 2. It's UConn, Illinois in that order.
Okay.
It's like the percentage. I don't exactly know how the percentages work. It's just,
right.
UConn was like 85%. Illinois was like 83.5%, something like that, and then Indiana was like 82. So they're like all right there. Look, here's a free throw, right? Statistically third most talented roster in the country. Here's a free throw, Adam.
Okay.
Who compiled the roster?
Who made the roster? They want to tell you it's Mark Cuban. The haters want to tell you it's Mark Cuban.
Yeah,
it's Michael Woodson.
Mike Woodson. Yeah, I purposely left this in there just because I talked about it last week. It's disappointing seeing the IU fan base be the way that they are. And I'm sure a lot of fan bases are similar in nature. I'm just exposed to it through the nature of our show and the nature of just
who you hang out with,
who I hang out with,
what your algorithm pushes to you.
Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And here's a little eye test thing. This team's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I have a question though. Are half court lobs to the 2 guard a good thing? Like if the point guard throws a half court, throws a lob for a dunk to the shooting guard, not a big, a shooting guard down the court. That's a good thing, right? Is that what modern basketball is supposed to look like?
I have never seen that. I have seen a half court shot though. I have seen a half court shot.
Yeah, I mean, Rice threw in
Carlisle
a lob to Rice threw a
another
lob
one?
to Carlisle earlier in the game.
Uh-huh.
Later in the game, this isn't counting the oopsie 3 that
Yeah.
Carlisle had when he was trying to throw a lob, and it was money for a 3. So that's fun. Really excited to watch this team play in real life. On Thursday.
Oh my god, I forgot we're going to that. Yeah, we're going to the UNCG game.
Also, I mean, this team is the 21st best offensive efficiency and 13th best effective field goal percentage in the country.
That's nice.
It's nice logging into Torvik and bringing up their profile, and like
in green,
every category is green.
Yeah,
compared to last year where it was not.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's like red is 3-point attempt rate. Yeah, 3-point rate. It's very low, obviously. 17's not a lot.
Yeah, they don't show a lot of volume. But
yeah, like for context, I mean Evansville in the first half against Bradford, maybe it was in one of their games. They made 10 and a half. So, But you know, definitely positive. I think that things running through the guards is definitely positive for Indiana and Mike Woodson and his team.
Yep.
But let's talk about Indiana State. So they moved down
In
Torvik just barely from 203 to 208. They lost to SIUE 77-72. I mean, this is a team that, you know, hung with Indiana for quite a while. That's who Indiana didn't cover the spread, but I mean, the spread was like large.
It's like 30.
Like 30. It was like almost 30. And then they won at Ball State, and the game at Ball State is the one that I kind of want to focus on because it was more meaningful. Obviously, you don't want to, like, yes, SIUE is a bye game technically. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know how it works sometimes with mid majors. I don't know.
I mean, SIUE, yes, like they are coming from a lower conference coming to, you know, a Missouri Valley, but I mean, shot 36% from 3 in that game. Had a chance to tie it up with like 25 seconds left, but you missed the 3, so you lose. You know, then they go down and they hit. SIUE scores again, so you lose by 5. So I mean, you know, not like a terrible. It's not like they were blown out in this game.
Right.
They were down by like 12 in the second half.
Yeah.
Which, you know, completely new team. So we're just talking about, we were talking about Ball State and how, you know, they have a lot to figure out. Well, their team they have people who have actually played together before. Indiana State does not. So different there, but really big win in Worthen for Coach Graves. And, you know, what's this? 2 years in a row that Indiana State beat Ball State, because last year they played them in Indy.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. They played them.
And boat raced them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Ball State made a game of it in the second half of that one, but
yeah, I mean,
Indiana State, man, they look good.
Yeah, to me, this team, the team rebounds the ball well, not necessarily based on rebound percentage, but just their share of rebounds. Everyone is attacking the rim. Everyone's getting rebound. No one has insane numbers individually from a rebound perspective, but you know, they're evenly spread out. They're also out rebounding their opponents by 22 on the season. So that's, you like to see that. Got 8 dudes scoring 7 or more, which is, you think, okay, last year they had 6 dudes that score, or 5 dudes that were scoring in double digits.
90,
but
5% of their points.
They're scoring the ball well collectively. They've got 2 that are over 12. So again, you know, all entirely new team. Feel fun to watch.
Yeah. Very dynamic, dude.
I love it when there's a player who is their leading scorer and also leading assists guy. I mean, we've seen it a couple times. We see it across the board with a couple of our other schools. And I just love it. Like, I mean, we see it with Marcus Burton. We see it with Braden
it's
Smith
different when like they're not just the guy. Like when they have pieces around them, which, you know, they're going to get their scoring, but then they can also dish to these people very efficiently, as opposed to like, well, the only way you're getting assists is if you're passing it to the leading scorer. You know, this is a little bit different than that.
Which is why I like it.
Yeah.
I think, because he knows, okay, he could probably score the ball at will.
Yeah.
But also he's going to get the ball to an open guy, then score the ball. And then I think that's why we see 8 dudes who are scoring 7 or more. Like 7 is, it might not be a big number, but it's still an impressive number.
Yeah.
In the sense, because it's this, how much it's spread out. 8 guys when you've got 5 guys on the court at any given time. Like that's, most teams don't even have a rotation of 8. Yeah. Or 8 might be the maximum rotation of the 13 players that you have on the roster. So really cool to see that. Definitely think this team is gonna really, you know, continue to bring things together.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just like really, really strong performances in this game, just what they need. Like Kamani had 17, Peel had 14 and 11 assists. Camp Wagner, 19 points. Yep. He went 5 of 8 from 3, just, you know, 5 rebounds, just absolutely killing it. Fouled out, man. Put his scoring ability on the line for the team.
Yeah.
So we like to see that. But you know, 5 guys in double figures and all of them 13 or higher. Like that's really huge.
Yep.
So this is the team that we were talking about when we were saying, like, we see the vision. We just want to see it realized.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we kind of jump in. Like, we believed in Matt Graves, but there were just things that we thought were more sure things. And Matt Graves has proven us that he can do it too. So really like that, and really like their defense, really like how they're still shooting the three a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the line a lot.
A team that is also shooting the three a ton and getting to the line a lot. Our next school,
IU Indianapolis.
Yeah. They moved up in Torvik. They have surpassed last year. They lived in the 360s. Maybe jumped to the 350s once or twice in the season. This year, already up to 346. They're climbing the rankings nationally. They were 350 last week, so a 4-point jump. That's with a loss. They won over Goshen, so that Goshen came to them, played at the Jungle. They won 97-55. And then they lost to Eastern Michigan, also at the Jungle. Right? The Goshen game was at the Jungle, right?
Yes, I believe they were both at the Jungle.
Okay. And they lost to Eastern Michigan 74-71.
And, they move up 4 spots. The way that these rankings work is there's a lot of, like, preseason stuff. I don't know. There's, like, a certain date, or, like, it's not even until, like, January, I think, when all the, like, the preseason and, like, last year's stuff is, like, filtered out.
Right.
So they're, like, it's like trying to raise your grade in school from like a 0, like missing your first 5 assignments and then trying to raise your grade up. It's very hard.
Yeah, it takes time. Things have to roll off.
Once last year's stuff gets deleted, it's going to be a lot better for them, and they're going to look. They don't look like the 346th team in the country.
No,
by any means. I mean, if they're the 346th team in the country, then Xavier's like 290.
Right. It's one thing that let's talk to us about the Goshen game. What do you got from
Zelinskis, man? I mean, Paul Zelinskis. That's all you need to know. I mean, everyone is great. Like Sean Craig, great, 14 boards. Zelinskis had his career high, 27 points, and they win 97-55. And Paul Casaro afterwards was like, "Thought we were sloppy." 42-point win, but I wanted to play our best, and I don't think we did. I'm happy with any win. I've never been around a bad one, but we're at a point in building the program where we want to put our best product on the court, and I don't think we did that today. And that tells you that this is not IUPUI.
It quite literally isn't.
Simple. Like that right there is like, okay, yeah.
I think
completely different team.
I think the one thing that I noted last week, right, is that when we talked about when we were at their season opener, at one point, Prasaro looked up at the scoreboard and was just disappointed, frustrated, something. They were winning by like 30. I think that post-game statement in and of itself just validates what we saw in real life, because it's the same situation. It's like, there are things that he knows the team still needs to work on even when they're winning by 40. So it's, you love that. You love that. And that's how I know that this isn't IUPUI. That's how I know that this is IUND. They're the Jaguars of today, not of the past. They're moving in the right direction.
But Eastern Michigan, I mean, that one thinks that they dropped it, or they drop it 74-71. They just couldn't hit a 3 to like end the game at all. And who was it? Oh, the dude goes in and he hits a 3, but he stepped on the line. And if they get that 3, I mean, I think they win the game.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what they were. Were they like down 6 or something? Down 3, and he stepped on the line. So that just hurts.
I'll say
sometimes they just don't go in.
Yeah, I might have cursed them last week. I talked about their threes and how many they're shooting, and how many they're making. This week, even against Goshen, they couldn't buy a 3.
Yeah,
they had 8 apiece in both those games, which is like, okay, you think, okay, 8 threes. It's funny to think about how like that's a bad night.
Yeah,
because
you wanted them to take 8 last year.
Yeah, Well, because last year the most that they scored in any game all season was 8.
Yeah.
So a low night for them was their highest
Yeah.
night last season. But there's a stat, and I'll let. Last week I talked. They were at the top of the list in 3-point field goal percentage. Obviously, I said it, and they didn't shoot as well from 3 this week. There's a stat that they're number 4 in the nation in, and like I'm scared to say it. I don't know. Do you want me to say it? If I put it out there, is it?
No, go for it.
Is there potential that I curse them again?
It's on the interwebs. It's out there for everyone to see.
They are the 4th best free throw percent team in the nation. So did not write down what the percentage was.
I might be able to find it real quick.
But they're making shots at the line, which is 3 points. So
87.2.
87. That is
they're 4th now.
Good. That's what I said.
Yeah, they're 4th. That's crazy.
That's what I wrote. 4th in the nation. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. So, don't want to lose that one, but I think that's going to make them hungry, and Casaro's not going to be happy to live with that. So let's talk about Notre Dame, because they had a pretty good week. They went from 67 to 65, and they won over Buffalo 86-77, which is not what I thought the score was going to be. And then they won at Georgetown, true road game, 84-63. On Thursday, Jaren, I wanted to talk about this before we talk about it. On Thursday, Buffalo lost at home to Bryant, 87-64. That's a little concerning. Or did they, do we think that the Notre Dame wins, like, kind of, but, maybe they just brought it to Notre Dame and didn't have it at home.
Yeah,
didn't have it at home against Bryant.
Right.
They used all their juice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, Tay Davis is great, 27-6, career high. Matalacco didn't attempt a shot, but I guess technically he went 1 for 2 from the line. And then the Georgetown game is the one that I really.
Yep.
This is a tournament team. This is a freaking tournament team, man. Matalacco gave the performance that I thought that he was. He provided what I thought he was going to provide this whole season. It was 17 points, 4 threes in the first half. And you just see the difference between this team is we're not talking about Marcus Burton every single time.
And that gets to one thing.
No, go ahead. Go off.
No, go.
That was all I had.
Okay. I love how efficient this team is at scoring the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because every game they've had a different leading scorer. Which is great. Like the same core of guys, right, is still averaging around the same amount of points.
Yeah.
But when someone's popping off in the game, they find the ways to get that guy the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Matalacco was the Matalacco game in Georgetown. He popped off leading scorer. Or I don't know if he was their leading scorer.
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah. Tay Davis in the Buffalo game. Got him the ball, and he made a lot of shots at the free throw line.
Yeah.
But again, he's driving to the rim. They're getting him the ball. He's got the ball in his hands to try and score.
Refreshing.
I love it, especially I guess, when that person's name, that leading scorer isn't Marcus Burton.
Yeah.
Because it takes pressure off of him. Like he's a sophomore, right?
Right.
He's a small guy. He is capable of being their leading scorer every game. Yeah. I firmly believe that, and I will stand on that until ever. But the way that they're finding ways to get other people the ball,
it's nice.
I think
the way that he's finding ways to get other people the ball, because it allows him to play his true point guard role.
Yeah, yeah, and so I love that. Like, I mean, Burton's still averaging like 17, 16, like, but he doesn't have the pressure. He doesn't have to score the ball every time. He can find someone and. Someone's going to pump off and he's going to be like, all right, bet.
Yeah, and I think the more that continues, the more that's going to allow him to kind of bring that 3-point shot ahead, because that's the only thing that his game is lacking is the 3-point shot.
Yep.
But yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a tournament team. I think they're going to be in the tournament, and I think that they're going to shock people. But if you know who Shrewsbury is, this is not surprising whatsoever.
Well, I mean, even like me talking about like they find ways to get the ball to whoever's popping off that game. That's a testament to Shrews.
Yep.
Like he's gonna draw up plays between timeouts and be like, okay, all right, Alako, we're running this for you to get open.
Yeah. Especially because I feel like a lot of those things, you could run same play for Burton, for Shrews, for Alaka. Like you could run the same action for any of the guys, and it's just beautiful offense is what it is, and I'm very positive on the team.
Another team that I firmly believe will be a tournament team.
Dude, their path is harder just by nature.
By nature, yeah.
There will only be one team coming out of the conference.
Yep.
But we think it'll be this team. We think it'll be Purdue Fort Wayne. They went up 19 spots from 171 to 152. Monster week for the Purdue Fort Wayne guards. W over Bethune-Cookman, 91-69, and then a W over Southern Indiana, 93-74. Huge wins.
Yeah, I mean their guards next level. They're so good. The fact that Kaufman was able to get them to Purdue Fort Wayne is just testament to who he is.
Well, I mean, why would you not want to play for, in his words, sexy offense?
Yeah.
He has to have a sexy offense. And if you're Rasheed Bello, if you're Jalen Jackson, like any of those guys, like perfect for them. Like it's almost tailor made to them.
Yeah. Talk to us about the games real quick, because I've got a few things that I want to.
Yeah, so I mean, Bethune-Cookman lost at Nebraska by 5 and lost to Texas Tech about as badly as they lost to Purdue Fort Wayne. So that's a testament of, again, how good Purdue Fort Wayne is. Bello was incredible, a career high of 31 points, and then they followed it up with the Southern Indiana game. Jalen Jackson, 29 points, and the way he hit 29 was on a putback after a missed free throw. Just gets after it, grabs the rebound, puts it right back up. Shot great from 3. I mean, it was 13 of 28. The return game from last year, no shoe blocks, no shoes were harmed in the making of this basketball game. But Mulder, we get it. We got everything this game. We got Jalen Jackson popping off. We got Maximus Nelson threes. We got Eric Mulder poster. It was a little bit tight in the end of the first half, and then second half they just didn't look back.
Yeah. So far this season, I think Mulder has almost doubled his scoring output, which I love. We're obviously big fans of his. But I mean, we even talked about with Coach Kaufman when we interviewed him on our show, as he talked about the work that Mulder has been putting in and the way that they're gonna get him moving more offensively. So love it. There was one point I thought he was gonna pull it from 3. He was like, his toe was on the line. He I watched him. He got the ball at the top of the key. Toe was on the line. He looked down, saw his toe was on the line, and then didn't pull up. Like, okay, well, it makes sense. Why take a long 2?
Right.
And he didn't have the time to take a step back. But would have loved to see him shoot 3. My only complaint, and it has nothing to do with the team. It's the fact I want fans to either pack the Coliseum, or for them to never play a game at the Coliseum again. I know that that's very drastic to say, but it's disappointing that there are like 300,000 people in Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Where they're based. They are the only, they're the largest college here.
They're the only Division I school here.
Division I school. Like Indiana Tech, I know, has a huge following.
And the nearest Division I school is hours away.
At least 2 hours away.
Yeah.
In any direction. Literally in any direction.
Well, I mean, Ball State's like an hour.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you got Ball State, but I mean,
But yeah, it felt like there were 75 people at the game Saturday. We were there.
It did.
Right? It was a evening game on a Saturday. I mean, I know football is on, but no one in Indiana was playing football at that time. There were no, Notre Dame might have been playing.
I think Notre Dame kicked off later, or in the afternoon. Maybe they kicked off when the game was up in the second half.
But this should be an NCAA tournament team. We already said it. I am just disappointed that the more people aren't going to the games.
Yeah.
Like I think the team and Coach Kaufman deserve better.
Mm-hmm. I fully agree with you.
Of the community. I mean, Jalen Jackson from Fort Wayne had a career night.
Yep.
Like, it was also a salute to service night, so they honored service members throughout the game. Like, it would have been cool to see more people there to honor those. Would have been cool to see more service members there.
Yeah.
But also more people there to honor the service members that were there. So, like,
yeah, I mean,
that's my only
the
complaint about this
Coliseum's
team.
really cool. It's just really big. I mean,
yeah,
just the environment of it. Like, I would rather have, for any team, I would rather have a small arena packed than a big arena.
And look at Baylor.
Half empty.
Intentionally made a smaller arena.
Right.
So that's just me getting on my high horse. I think that the team deserves better, and there should be more fans going out to watch.
Yeah.
This
I mean,
team
we
play.
got to be there, so that was pretty nice.
Yeah.
That was nice to be there for them, but
Yep.
definitely do need more support from the Dons, especially because Coach Kaufman cares about this community so much, and he puts so much in.
Yes.
So we need to give back to him a little bit more,
without a doubt.
Let's talk about the other Purdue, the one down south. They moved down somehow in Torvik from 13 to 14, probably because they played Yale closer than they were supposed to. But I don't know. They went 2-0 this week, so they won over Yale 92-84, and then they won over Alabama 87-78. Cam Heide bounced back game in Yale, so that was really nice because the first two games he was, it didn't seem like he was picking up where he left off last year, and then he kind of picked it up here. Kudos to Yale, man. Yeah, like in Purdue for playing 3 probable NCAA tournament teams in a row, and then one definitive NCAA tournament team in Alabama.
Yeah.
But Braden Smith, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals. First Big Ten player in the last 20 years to reach those marks in a game. Feel like last year, it was like we just had to stop saying the stats of like Zach Edey did this. He's the first player in so many years.
Yep.
Braden Smith was like, my turn.
Yeah.
My turn to do it, I guess. I'll do it. I got this. Thanks, Zach. But Yale game, they won. That's all we wanted from them. And so you see them close game. You're like, oh, how's the Alabama game going to go? And you're perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
No issues.
Really? Yeah. It's
it's just impressive to see. One, Mackey was rocking. It was very close to their highest decibel, like reading in Mackey. And I don't know how it wasn't the highest because the high point of the game where they measured it at the highest point in the game, that was almost the highest ever, was when CJ Cox hit his third 3 in 52 seconds. 52 seconds of gameplay, like
I
real time actually, because there were no breaks in there.
Yeah, I always use the analogy a lot to you, Adam. Reggie did it when he scored, 11 points in 7 seconds or whatever, or it might have been 7 points in 11 seconds. But I might have to just start saying, CJ Cox did it,
dude.
Like if there's like any moment where there's like almost double digits and less than a minute left or whatever, it's like I'm not gonna rule things out because CJ Cox did it. That's not a knock to CJ Cox. That's just like possible.
Yeah.
Anyone at any given point, a guy who is a freshman, right, put the team quite literally on his back for 52 seconds and put them back in the game and sealed the game.
That was 100% the momentum shifter.
Yeah.
That literally that because
he did it on both ends of the court. Like it wasn't like just him making shots; he was playing defense too.
And he didn't even set himself. He just stepped right into it, drained it.
Yep.
Oh, another one, drained it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, here's the heat check. All right, here's the heat. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, come on. And that's a true freshman who was not Purdue was his only high major offer. That's it. Matt Painter, man, he finds these guys. I don't know.
Yeah.
Greg Hoffman-Renn, incredible.
He's the guy I want to talk about here in a second. It's really interesting. After the first 2 games, for some reason, don't understand it. There were a lot of people saying that this team had a lot of question marks and might have even been overrated. No. Yeah, right. No. Definitely don't believe that. I never did. I mean, we knew that this team was going to be good.
I think our question mark was just the 5 with Jacobson going out.
Yep.
And I feel like all season, the 2 weeks, it's been like we need to see Trey Kaufman Wren down at the 5.
I even said it like I'll admit it, at the beginning of the season. I think even in our season preview episode was like, okay, which player is going to step up, and be that duo with Braden, right? Like last year, it was Edie and Braden. Like they were the guys,
right?
Understandably so. I knew it would be someone, right? I knew someone would step up and help be that second leading scorer. Emphasis on second leading scorer,
right?
Implying that Braden was going to be their leading scorer. Turns out it was two someones. So far, PKR and Lawyer are both 1 and 2 in scoring. They're both averaging 2.5 and 1.5 points per game more than Braden, respectively. Yeah. So, and we 18 for TKR, 17 for Lawyer.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about Trey Kaufman Wren being the leading scorer.
Yep.
And I'm glad that that's happening because he's waited for his time, and it's his time now. You saw Edie waiting for his time, behind Travion Williams. You've seen all these guys just waiting their turn and coming in and just being dominant, and he's just so good. That right jump hook is automatic, man.
Yeah, and the best thing about that too, right? I talked about their scoring, right? They're 2.5, 1.5 points per game more than Braden. They're playing quite a few more minutes fewer, quite a few minutes fewer than Braden.
Right.
Like Braden's playing 38 minutes a game, dang near 36, something like that. They're playing less. It's also great. Braden's averaging more assists per game than last season, which fewer games so far, right?
But like it's hard to have more assists than he did last year.
Right. And he's almost averaging a double-double. Last year he was averaging 7.5 assists. Right now he's averaging 9.5, with 15.5 points per game.
Yeah.
So
it's great, man. This team, and they're going to be
Braden will get a
tested again
triple-double here soon. Although actually,
not if Paint has anything to say about it.
Yeah, but also Braden's rebound numbers have gone slightly down. But I think other people are just
they don't need them. I don't know.
You had Edie eating up all the rebounds last year.
Yeah,
rightfully so. And now more people are just able to get rebounds because they don't have Edie there.
Maybe they just miss less.
Haven't run those. I've talked about a lot of numbers that I've run. Those aren't numbers that I have run, but they so far from the eye test have been missing fewer shots.
Yeah,
especially 3-pointers.
This is a team that'll be top 10. Obviously, they should be top 5 probably. Made a lot of people look stupid. Talking about I don't know. I think they're going to take a major step back. People were saying it's like no. Moving on. Anyway, let's talk about Southern Indiana. They went down from 300 to 308. They took 2 losses this week, one against Marshall, 77-63, and another at Purdue Fort Wayne, 93-74. And then they won their lone game. It's an old Division II rival, Bellarmine, 71-69. So we've been talking about watch Bellarmine all year. Southern Indiana fans have probably been mad at that, except for this game because they were in it. Old rivals, but they won. And I think that this is just like a deep breath moment for the team because they should have been 2-1 going into that game at Bellarmine. And then they should have been they should be 3-3. Oh my gosh, have they played that many games?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they've played quite a few games.
Oh no, they played 5 games.
That's still the most.
That's
out of
still
most of
the
our
most.
teams
Yes,
that we cover.
And they haven't played. They've only played Division I opponents. We talk about that. But Damani Harrison is great and kind of one of the draws to this team. Jalen Randall, Aloni is another one. Those 3 are like the big core that like people are like, oh my gosh, they're gonna pop off. And then you've got Sam Cody had a great game against Marshall. I assume that's why he started in the Bellarmine game because he popped off. I assume that's why he started over Campion. I don't know if there's an injury or anything there.
He also started in the Purdue Fort Wayne game.
Yeah, he did. And then Campion came in pretty quick.
Yeah.
But it also could have been a matchup thing. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I'm not Coach G, but
tall guy. Coach G. Very
tall guy. Ball player.
Yes.
But they were down 19. They were down 19 at one point against Bellarmine, and then they go on a 17-2 run and they tie the game up, and then we get Campion mid-range from the free throw line, just clutch, just ice water in his veins.
Mid-range shot, mid-range jumper, my favorite shot.
Yeah, the pull up.
Yep.
Dude gave him way too much room. You can't give Campion that much room.
No, you can't.
So they win. I mean, that's what they want. Like, that's the situation. If you're a tie game, like, you got nothing to lose. Get to your spot, man. And that's what Campion did. And then Purdue Fort Wayne, I think, was the Jared Washington game. He scored 12 in the first half, brought them within 2, and then they were down 6.5. And that was pretty much because of him. I think there was like foul trouble for like Aloni and like guys.
Well, Campion did foul out too.
Yeah, Campion was out in the first half. Our boy Merv got some minutes. That was nice. But he's the one who brought them back into that game. But then talked about it. Purdue Fort Wayne broke it open coming out of the half and just ran from there. I mean, we talked about it with people from Southern India, and they're like, Purdue Fort Wayne is probably one of the best teams, if not the best team on our schedule.
Yeah. They're definitely good. They lost what? They're 1-4. Is that right?
What are you saying?
Southern Indiana's 1-4.
Yes.
Yeah. I still think this team has a high ceiling. I really do. One thing to look at, right, is so far their average opponent ranking has been 206.
Yeah.
The average Ohio Valley Conference team ranking is 299.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. Their schedule is a lot harder than the Ohio Valley Conference.
Yeah, and the team has signs of life throughout the game. Like, they play with heart throughout. A couple things to note: Braxton Jones, one of their transfers, has not played yet. I believe he's still kind of recovering from an injury. Milky is going through the biggest slump I've ever seen in my life. He's 4 for 28.
He'll come out of that.
Yeah, he's 4 for 28 from 3. He's averaging 3.6 points per game. 3 of those 4 makes came against Purdue Fort Wayne. So positive upturn there. But in general, I mean, teams really aren't shooting that much better than them. So if Milky can find his rhythm, which I think we started to see that happen with Purdue Fort Wayne, and if they cut down on the fouls, had foul trouble quite a bit so far this season. They're sending teams to the line, a lot. I think that they're gonna start rolling. I really do. I'm a firm believer in this team.
I am too, and
I don't think the record reflects their ability.
No, absolutely not. And I think that like Purdue Fort Wayne, seeing that on the schedule and like knowing them, and is like that's seriously a really really tough game. And so you look at their other games, and it's like, it's not that bad. Like, the games once they get into conference are not that bad. What did they win last year? 8 games, and they were 8th in the conference and made the postseason tournament. They are gonna win more than 8 games this year. I'll say it. They're gonna win more than 8 games in conference this year. Like, they just will. Their talent is very, very high. Their athleticism is going to be very, very hard to match in the conference. And, they were able to hang with Purdue Fort Wayne for a while.
Yeah.
And Purdue Fort Wayne, a lot better than people understand. So, I'm just like you. I'm positive when Milky comes out of the slump, he's going to be great. Campion's been, pretty good, I think, running the point. And if Sam Cody can have those performances like he had against Marshall, that's going to help. Yeah. Because Campion's has been playing a ton of minutes.
Yeah.
But, stay out of foul trouble, get those guys on the floor, and just dunk the ball on their head every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing, Milky, great leader.
Oh my! I didn't write it down.
Absolutely, great leader on the floor.
He doesn't stop talking. Like, he's always telling the guys where they need to be.
There's no one we heard more than Milky.
Like, and there were times where, like, literally, there was one distinct time Purdue Fort Wayne was shooting free throws at the other end of the court, the end opposite of the Southern Indiana bench.
Yeah, by the Purdue Fort Wayne
and
bench.
Milky, anytime there's downtime, he's looking at coach, getting the play call, getting the reads, whatever. And Coach G was talking directly to Milky, telling him the play. No one else was talking. Like, everyone could hear what the play is.
Right.
And G just goes, tell your guys.
Milk, yeah.
Like, it's like, Milk, tell your guys, let them know. Like, they all clearly heard
right.
whatever coach was telling to Milky, but that just means that Milky's able to articulate it in a way that, like, he knows the guys will.
And that shows how much trust that G has with Milky, for sure. And that's what I love. Someone that is an extension of the coach on the floor. And that's absolutely Milky right now.
Yeah, love it. I love it.
All right, let's wrap it up with Valpo. They only played one game this week.
Yes, they only played one game. It was an unfortunate outcome, both in their drop in Torvik. They are 281 from 268. And then they lost to Cleveland State 75-67.
Not having Isaiah Stafford is going to kill this team, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, like,
not great. Not ideal.
Trieger going 0 for 8 from 3 doesn't help. Devin Ellis was great with 19. All right, 10 off the bench.
All
That's
right,
our boy. All right. Cleveland State shot almost 60% in the second half, and it wasn't like they just killed them. It was like a slow burn.
Yeah,
slowly pulled away over and over and over. I was at home, right? Cleveland State.
Yep.
Yeah, can't happen.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Schwieger being 0 for 8 from 3. As a team, they were 4 for 19.
Mm-hmm.
I have it written down. Those are IUPUI numbers. And it's intentional of me saying IUPUI because of how historically bad they were. So not ideal. I think that they'll figure it out. But again, without Stafford, it's I think it's going to be tough. I will say Darius Diavero, incredible point guard. First of all, he's 2 assists away from being the 15th player in program history to reach 300 career assists.
And that's something he really had to pick up on, like last year. Really learn how to just be a true point guard. So
I will say though, we mentioned Schwieger going 0 for 8 from 3. Let's not discredit. He did have 14 points.
Yeah.
He shot 50% from 2. And he was 2 for 2 from the line. So
he needs to be hitting those.
He's still getting the point.
I want him taking. Don't get me wrong. I want him taking those 8.
Oh,
I just want him to hit them.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to make sure we highlight that he did. It's not like he was not making any shots. He still had 14 and he was 6 for 12 from 2-point field goal percentage.
Yeah, I thought
field goal range. So
I liked what we had seen in previous games from Tyler Schmidt, the hometown hero.
12.
He only had 2 points, 2 free throws, only attempted 1 3-pointer. So I want to see him continue to do really well. But see.
All right. Well, that is all 11, which means next up is our Jimmy Chitwood Player of the Week. As a recap, last week we honored Mackenzie Mbako with that title. Who you got this week? Who is our week 2 Jimmy Chitwood Player of the Week? We highlighted a lot of studs this week. A lot of dudes that played well. But who did you decide is the guy?
Well, for Jimmy Chitwood this week, we had to pick someone on a team who had a big win and was very instrumental in that win. So this week, Jimmy Chitwood is going to go to Trey Kaufman-Renn from Purdue because versus Alabama, he was huge. CJ Cox was incredible and had those 9 points, but that was a momentum shifter. But Trey Kaufman-Renn is the force behind this team, in that game. He had 26 points, 8 boards. He hit all of his threes, or all of his 3, 100% from there. And he did it all over Cliff Amore, who used to play at Rutgers and is one of the best rim protectors in all of college basketball right now. Just an absolute force down low, hard to score over. And Trey Kaufman-Renn did it like it was nothing. So he obviously gets Jimmy Chitwood this week.
Yeah, I think it deservedly so. I failed to mention it when we talked about Purdue. I want to circle back to Cliff. I texted you during the game.
Yeah. And
I said, Cliff Amore is going to eat. I thought he was, right? Like the way he started the game, he knows how to play Purdue. He's done it for not 4 years, but he did it at Rutgers. And we know how the Rutgers and Purdue games always went.
And I think he was having a fun time over Berg.
Yeah,
and
like
Burgess.
he had to play against Edie during his time at Rutgers. It's like, okay, it's a Purdue team without 2-time National Player of the Year. Boy, was I wrong. He had like
no
one
kidding.
electric dunk early on. That's when I think that's when I texted you. And I was like, okay, well then DKR said, all right, bet. And
he said, "You ever seen a right jump hook? You ever seen a right jump hook again? You want to see it again? You want to see it again?"
Right.
He's like, "I'm just gonna keep doing it till you stop me," and it just never happened.
Yeah. So, definitely glad that I ate my words there.
Yeah, I mean, he had 4 of their 6 blocks, but they couldn't hit a 3, man, and it was incredible. It's hard to shoot in Mackey, brother. Good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, Indiana and Purdue back to back. Jimmy Chitwood Award. That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice. We need in like Bello and Jalen Jackson were calling my name.
Yeah.
Right.
Zelinskis, a guy that would have been a huge, but again, it comes down to
if they had won, I think if they had won the second game,
Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, if they had won that game, then Zelinskis would probably get it because it's, player of the week, not just one game.
Yep.
But I mean, biggest win,
biggest impact.
Yeah, and they were not favored in this game.
Right.
They should have been, but they weren't. So it speaks volumes to what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about next week, Jaren. I always like watching Iowa State, and IU Indy gets to go there. 36-point dogs to Iowa State.
That's a lot of points.
That is a lot of points.
It's almost 40.
No. You know what? If that's what the line opens at and it's available, I'm taking it. I'm absolutely taking IU. Of course. 36? Dude.
That's
come on.
I don't blame you. We are for the record, we are not a betting show. We do not give expert advice. These are purely just our opinions,
our personal thoughts,
our personal finances. We are not endorsing.
That's just too many points.
We are endorsing the idea. We are not.
These aren't our picks.
Advising on the idea. Yes. Just want to make that clear. Yeah. So that game.
Oh, it's 35.5 right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's disrespectful.
Would take them to take IU Indy to cover. I personally.
That's just disrespectful.
Viewers, listeners, you make your own decisions, please, and don't blame us for gambling. Don't come to us for gambling.
What are the marquee matchups that people need to know about?
Marquee, and by marquee you mean Marquette, because Purdue goes to Marquette on Tuesday. Should be a really fun game, right? Anytime you see Purdue play, like they play a fun brand of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But Purdue are 3-point dogs at Marquette. Makes sense in the sense that Marquette is a tough opponent and it is an away game, a true away game. So does not make sense just because it's Purdue being as good as they are. So definitely should be a great game to watch.
Marquette got pushed at Maryland. They won 78-74. Maryland also going to be a good team apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who would have thunk?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Ball State bounce back win, please, against Detroit Mercy. They're 10.5-point favorites according to Bart Torvik. They need that one. They should win that one. I pointed this out to you, but Detroit Mercy, based on just their record right now, they're standing atop of the Horizon League, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yep.
Purdue Fort Wayne
at Penn State, I think is going to be a great game. Penn State should be upper half of the Big Ten.
Yeah, I think they're going to surprise some people.
They do have a good squad, but Purdue Fort Wayne has a great squad.
How funny is it that top half of the Big Ten could just be 9th?
That's also
could just be 9th.
That's fair. That's wild. But definitely should be fun to watch. I think that's going to be a great litmus test on what this team is going to be able to, what Purdue Fort Wayne is going to be able to accomplish this season. They are 15.5-point dogs. Makes sense.
Big.
They're playing in College Station.
Numbers too big, baby.
College Station, yeah, that's where Penn State's at.
Yeah.
So again,
they're playing in Happy Valley.
Pretty large number. That's right. Happy Valley is Penn State. College Station is A&M.
Yeah. We're gonna be in attendance again this week. We're going to Indiana, so we're going to Indiana versus UNC Greensboro. That'll be fun. And they're 19-point favorites, so that'll be nice.
Should be a big win.
Yeah.
For the Hoosiers, but wanted to highlight that because while it's not a marquee matchup in terms of opponents playing against each other,
we'll be there.
So it's pretty marquee for us.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, talking about like teams that need wins, Valpo's favored in both of their games against Lindenwood and Eastern Illinois. They need to win both of those. IU Indy's doing a little MTE down in South Carolina. They play Coastal and South Carolina State. And then USI, they play South Dakota. They're 1-point dogs. I don't think they need that win, but they're coming off of, almost a week off, basically.
I think they need the win.
I wouldn't say they need it, but they're going to get it.
Yeah.
It's a morale.
It's a morale, yeah.
Booster for sure.
Yep.
Other than that, no other important games, I would say. Keeping an eye out for Valpo. Evansville needs a bounce back win. They do go to Ohio State before they have their game against Campbell. So
they're gonna be tired.
Yeah, luckily they have 4 days between. Yeah. But yeah, those are our games. You just want to rip through 49 States check-in real quick because I don't know. There were some decent games.
Yeah, so last week, Monday, we had Alabama beating McNeese 72-64. That same Alabama team that lost to Purdue. McNeese gonna be pretty good. So that was interesting to see how close that game was for most of it. Tuesday, Kansas beat Michigan State 77-69. Michigan State not ranked, really good. Kansas, obviously a number one team in the country. They are just a dominant force, and Michigan State keeping close to them is good to see for the Big Ten, which we will always have a secondary bias for outside of our 11 Indiana schools. Kentucky beat number 6 Duke 77-72. Cooper Flag did not clutch this game.
Yeah, not a clutch bone in his body on Tuesday.
Yeah, so
2 turnovers.
Kentucky, fun brand of basketball. Again, Kentucky's fun to watch again. And I say that as someone who's hated Kentucky most of my life. How do you not like Mark Pope?
Seriously.
You love watching them play.
Do you remember when we were talking in the summer about, or in the spring, when we were talking about them hiring Mark Pope, and I had talked to my buddy who's a lifelong Kentucky fan. He's like, man, when I heard Mark Pope got hired, the only way I could describe it is you're looking at all these nice restaurants. Oh man, we could go to Fogo de Chao, we could go to St. Elmo's, and then at the end you're like Taco Bell's right there. It's what? And you're yeah, but Taco Bell does always kind of hit, and it's right there. We could just have that. And he was like, Mark Pope's just kind of Taco Bell. And I texted him, and he was like, I do love me some Ever since when he was like, I do love me some Taco Bell, and I do hate Duke.
That's valid. And that's the best. And St. Joe. Oh, I forgot about this game. I faded it out of my mind. St. Joe's beat Villanova 83-76. Philly is just Villanova's kryptonite.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that is where they are. That's exactly where they're located.
Exactly. Villanova cannot beat any team from Philly.
If you can drive to the school in under 20 minutes, you're gonna win against Villanova.
Yeah. Wednesday, North Texas beat Minnesota at Minnesota 54-51.
Dude.
It was 23-14 UNT at halftime.
They scored less than 10 points in the first 14 minutes.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
It was not a fun game unless you like low scoring basketball
Unless
games.
you're a sicko. That was definitely a sicko's game of the week, and not in the normal way.
No. Thursday, LSU beat Kansas State 76-65 at Kansas State. This is notable. The way this is written. This is notable because Coleman Hawkins, previously of Illinois, cost Kansas State $2 million.
At least $2 million.
At least
the
$2
reports
million.
are at least $2 million.
So God, the way it's written cost them.
It did. And he was terrible.
Not just that they paid him that, they cost him that.
I mean,
You don't love
where's
it.
the lie?
There's no lie. Friday, Wisconsin beat number 9 Arizona at home 103-88.
When is the last time you've heard of Wisconsin scoring 100 points?
10 years ago, maybe.
I don't even think it could be that soon.
I'm curious now. I want to look back.
I'll see if I can find it.
Number 15, Marquette beat Maryland 78-74. It was an absolute back and forth game. I thought Maryland was going to win. I think they're playing out of their minds. Because again, they are going to be a good team. Derek Queen is the truth. He will be a one and done for sure. Sorry, Indiana fans, for the team did not get him. But I think it worked out for both sides. Charleston beat FAU 119-116. It was double overtime, so it's still an insane scoreline.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Charleston, always a high-powered offense. They are always going to put the ball in the basket. FAU was just able to keep up with them. So we've had the conversations. Is FAU good? I would say that they're good.
Here you go, Jaren. So in the season opener last year, they scored 105 points versus Arkansas State. But the last time they scored 100 points against a Power 5 school was the last time they did that was 101 versus Northwestern, February 3rd, 1993. Literally not even in our lifetimes.
That's insane. Way to dox us on our age, bro.
Okay, everyone knows we're 29.
I don't think anyone knew we were 29 until you just said that.
My mom does.
That's true. Then Saturday.
Our listener now knows.
Saturday, Xavier beat Wake Forest 76-65. This is the same Xavier team that went down to the wire with Indiana or IU Indy.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same Wake Forest team that I believe beat Michigan.
Yes.
So there's some transitive correlation there. Then Sunday, the Patino Bowl, St. John's beat New Mexico 85-71. Thanksgiving would have been, I guess they probably won't get together on Thanksgiving because, their jobs. Things would have been real awkward if Richard beat Rick. So that's the Patino Moneybag Bowl.
Next week, Monday, number 4 Gonzaga is at San Diego State, so that's Gonzaga minus 6.5.
San Diego State, probably one of my favorite teams to watch.
Yeah, they've had some.
It's on the West Coast at least.
Yeah, uncharacteristic loss this year, I think already, but Gonzaga is apparently an insane force, so watch out for that one. Tuesday. If you're in Philly, you should be there. It's Penn at Villanova. Get to see Villanova probably lose another Big 5 game. The Nova's favored by 18.
Is Penn Philly based?
Yes,
that's what I thought.
They're one of the Big 5, or I guess there's now 6 teams that they do this big like MTE every year. Yeah, so Penn is in Philly and Nova's favored by 18. So if this were a betting show, I would tell you to lay the points with Penn to cover the spread because that's crazy. Alabama at Illinois is on Wednesday. That's going to be a great comparison for Purdue because Purdue plays both of those games. So you can see, Bama's favored by 3. That's about what they were favored by against Purdue. So Bama playing at both places is nice, but you're going to get to see, a different type of basketball in that game for sure. So you'll get to compare that. On Thursday, you get another St. John's game. Hey, back-to-back weeks. St. John's is favored by 0.5 point against Baylor in Baha Mar in the Baha Mar Hoops Challenge debacle, whatever it is.
There's like two different Baha Mar events.
Yeah.
But this is the Baha Mar Hoops.
Yeah. So then Friday, Duke's at Arizona. It's the return game from last year. Arizona, who just lost to Wisconsin, scored, over 100 points against the Power 5 team for the first time 21 years or 31 years. And then, Duke's favored by 2 there. But and Duke just lost to Kentucky this week. Saturday, Marquette versus Georgia in the Bahamas. Marquette is just going to host Purdue right before this. And Marquette's favored by 3 in that game. And then Sunday, our game of the day is Bryant at St. Bonaventure, because this one's for Woj.
Okay.
So shout out Woj, I guess.
More of a Shams guy, but Woj is the GOAT.
Woj,
He's the OG.
You know what? He did it, and he wiped his hands, and he moved on.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just moved on.
Yeah. All right. This is my least favorite part of the show. This is our Guess the Game of the Week. Or if you're keeping track at home, Adam is 1-1.
On a technicality.
On a technicality.
On a technicality.
And then I am 0-2. So it is Adam's turn to provide his guess, his clue to me first.
All right, Jaren. For my Guess the Game, my first question is, how good are you at history?
Is that a hint?
Nope. How good are you at history?
Great at history.
All right. Good luck. Here's my clue. The Marquis says bonjour to the littlest colony.
Get
some French in here.
Rhode Island.
Okay.
And New Orleans.
That's a good guess with the French ties, but no, it is not New Orleans and Rhode Island. It is Rhode Island, though. You did get Rhode Island. The littlest colony is Rhode Island.
Okay.
If you know your Revolutionary War, you know the Marquis.
I don't.
Dang, man.
I don't.
All the Hamilton fans. If there's any crossover between Hamilton fans and our podcast, they're screaming the answer. Marquis de Lafayette at Rhode Island. Wednesday, 11/20 at 7 p.m.
Not a Hamilton guy.
Wednesday, November 20th at 7 p.m.
You
don't have to be a Hamilton guy. I just know you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Revolutionary War.
Okay, so here's, before I give you my clue.
Okay.
This just came to me. I would like to petition to start allocating half points.
Absolutely not.
Why?
No, you get it or you don't.
If I get one of the teams right.
Okay. So? No way. I don't want a half point. I don't want no half points.
I'm perfectly okay with half points. I think if basketball spreads would allow half points, then we should allow half points. But whatever.
All right, just let it rip.
All right.
I'm ready to get it wrong.
We've got lovers and charity workers taking a trip to the ocean.
Lovers and charity workers.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a trip to the ocean.
Yep.
My guess would be like the volunteers. Lovers. Like Virginia is for lovers. But taking a trip to the ocean, are they like playing in a location? Like they're in somewhere? Is it Virginia and Tennessee? Somewhere in like the Bahamas? Or just Virginia and Tennessee?
It's Virginia and Tennessee. They're playing in the Baha Mar Hoops Bahamas Championship.
Yo!
I figured I had to tone it back a little bit after last week.
You know what? I will go 0-30 or whatever, how many times we do this.
It'd be about 18, I think, is how many times.
Maybe I get them so wrong.
Yeah, so Virginia and Tennessee playing in the Baha Mar Hoops Bahamas Championship on the 21st at 9:30 p.m. I changed at the last minute. It was really going to be lovers and candy stripers.
Okay.
Because candy stripers are, obviously volunteer medical
Mhm.
workers, and Tennessee also wears candy stripe pants.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought charity workers might be a little bit more gettable.
I don't know that I would have gotten candy stripers.
Well, that's why I went to charity workers. So I thought it'd be easier. I thought
Mhm.
candy stripers
Yeah.
would be a little bit too
Candy
abstract.
stripers. Yeah.
Because it would have had like the double entendre, which
Yeah.
like could have been.
I would have thought
misleading.
like, I don't know. My whole mind would have just gone to like nursing or something probably.
Yeah.
But also like I don't know what that would even be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Very good one. I like that one. That was good.
And then obviously I didn't want to tie directly into like the Virginia Cavaliers,
Mm-hmm.
but Virginia's for lovers.
If
I thought was,
if I didn't know someone who lived in Virginia and had seen and like visited them in Richmond and seen all the Virginia's for lovers license plate, wouldn't have gotten it.
see,
for sure.
I thought Virginia is for lovers is like a very
It probably is.
common thing. It's just not.
I don't know.
Your,
Just cut Virginia out.
Yep.
Cut Virginia out in current times.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Good one.
Impressive.
All right, Jaren.
I'm disappointed in myself.
I'm gonna go on record and say that you're gonna get mine next week.
You already have it locked in and ready?
Nope. I'm gonna use my knowledge of you as a person.
Okay, this is scary.
And I'm gonna make it. I want you to know I spent a very long time this week trying to find a clue that I could somehow tie into one piece to give you a clue. Because I was like, he got to figure this one out. If I could connect this thing,
Too
I
bad
know nothing about.
We don't have any other friends that watch the show that probably could have helped you.
Well, I have my best friend Google.
That's fair.
All answers
That's
all my
fair.
questions as soon as I need it.
But yeah, that is the end of the episode. Anything else, Adam? You wanna highlight?
No. Next time we are here, I want to shorten our recap a little bit because I want to talk about Maui and I want to talk about Bahamas.
Yep.
So I want to spend a little bit more time in the 49 states because I really want to talk about like what we're gonna see.
Yep.
And all that because I'm not a watch like football on Thanksgiving. I'm like a turn on Maui kind of guy.
I had last year at Thanksgiving. I had my entire family was watching football, and I had my phone and my iPad up in front of me, watching Maui.
Atlantis, like that's such a good time.
People just didn't get it. People just didn't understand. They're not for the culture, I guess. So
yeah, we'll talk about that next week. But
So if you are a fan of our recaps, we apologize. They will be shorter next week, but
if you're gonna be at Indiana on Thursday, we'll see you there.
Yeah, we will. Let us know. Hit the DMs. Otherwise, like and subscribe. Share it with a friend.
Yeah.
We like to get our word out there. I almost said gospel, but I don't want to. Not gospel. We don't have gospel, but
no. So yeah, we'll see you on Sunday. If you're at Indiana, we might see you at the game, but we'll definitely catch you at Shalubi's afterwards.
Yep, we will be at post game show at Shalubi's on Thursday.
Book it. Yeah, we're finalizing the details.
Yep,
it's gonna be a wet one.
Yep. But otherwise, the clock is showing quadruple zeros. Time for us to get out of here. Thanks for checking in on the State of Basketball podcast. We will see you next week, Thursday at Shalubi's.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, in 49 states,
it's just basketball.